Welcome to the station crew. Enjoy your stay.
The salvage technician in Space Station 14 is tasked with getting the station essential resources and making money for cargo. Salvage is split up into two primary functions. One is planetary expeditions, and two is pulling in either salvage wreckages or asteroids. Mining is involved with both, but mining isn't always required unless you pull in an asteroid, but I guess you technically don't have to mine the asteroid if you pull it in, just like you don't technically have to mine on the planets. However, to even get started with your job, you're going to spawn in the salvage bay, and you're going to either get your suit out of a locker like this, or out of a suit storage, and they'll pretty much always be in the same room. Regardless of what you plan on doing, you are going to need your EVA suit, because, well, your entire job takes place in space, and you will at least need the suit until you get onto a planet, but even then you might as well just keep the suit on. You're going to need oxygen or nitrogen, respective to your species. You're going to want your mask so you can breathe through your oxygen. You're going to want to take your utility belt because tools are invaluable on expeditions and on salvage wreckages. You're going to want your knife because there's often combat. Mag boots is good because there's no gravity in space. And the ore bag is good if you're mining, but you don't necessarily need it if you're not mining. Taking the handheld radio is good to communicate with other salvagers on missions because there's no radios on expeditions, and the GPS is good in case you get lost, but that's probably the least useful object in there. Something else I'd recommend doing is going to your salvage vendor and taking full. So the Fulton beacon in Fultons are really useful because it lets you essentially teleport anything you hook it to back to a location. So what you do with this in order to make this work, you get the Fulton beacon, put it wherever you want it, and alt-click it. So now all the objects will teleport back here, and you want to get your stack of Fultons, and there's 10 in a stack, and just simply left-click it with the Fulton beacon, and you can keep them in your backpack. They weigh a little bit, but it will save you lots and lots of running time. So now that the Fultons are hooked up, it's time to actually go get stuff. And I'm just going to grab the ore bag. And in order to actually start doing your job, you're going to want to make sure your oxygen's on, and you're going to come outside. Every station's a little different, but this station you have to come outside at all to even start accessing the salvage stuff. And to even really begin your job, you're going to have to fly your ship back to where you were at. Every map is different, but typically you can find cargo bays due to the fact that there's only 2 doors. So if you look out over here where my mouse is, I can't really move the cursor. I guess I could fly over there. But really quickly, arrivals and evacs always has double sets of doors attached, and cargo will only ever have these 2 doors always touching because the cargo shuttle has dual doors on both sides. So the cargo shuttle, or the cargo bay on the station will replicate that. So now that we've flown the ship back over here, we just want to line it up as good as we can for us to board it. Grab our ore bag just in case, and now that the ship's here, what I would also recommend doing is go and grab a pickaxe and probably get a protokinetic accelerator. This is your primary ranged weapon. And now that we have our pickaxe, the protokinetic accelerator, we just want to bring these all onto the ship. And what I would highly recommend doing on this station, and on any station, is just take the salvage magnet with you and push it onto the ship, because you really want to spend most of your time actually doing your job on your shuttle, because the shuttle is really good at transportation. And don't worry about spacing this. Like, it's going to get spaced. Like, as soon as you open the cargo bay door to actually bring in cargo, you space it. So just don't worry about keeping this thing airtight. It's not really meant to be. And you just want to anchor your salvage magnet facing outwards towards space. It doesn't really matter the direction, but this way makes it easier so you can just jump out the door. Anyways, now that we're on the ship, there are your 2 options for... Anyways, now that you're on the ship, I'm just going to show you how to do the salvage magnet. Simply, what I like to do is fly out a little bit away from the station just to give it some room to generate. So, like, this is far enough, honestly. And you just simply left-click the salvage magnet. And in the chat, it'll say the salvage magnet is pulling in a piece of debris. And that can either be a piece of an asteroid, It is most likely to be a asteroid piece because it just has a higher chance of spawning. On a lower percent chance, it can be a preset dungeon that somebody has made. They're basically just mini maps, and they have varying degrees of goodies on them. And obviously, I'm not going to explain every single one, but you get to sit on your shuttle console and wait for it to spawn. If it's orange like this, that means it is an asteroid, and asteroids have no threats. That means there is literally nothing to worry about on these. You just mine and you vibe. What you should do, put your ore bag on your belt, grab the pickaxe, you don't even have to two-hand it, and simply, you just walk out and you wide swing melee. And if the ore bag is on your belt slot, it will automatically pick up the ores near you. And this is it. This is all you do. If you have to pick ores to prioritize, artifact ores like this are fantastic because this can make science speed up their research tenfold, easy. But these don't auto pick up with the when it's on your belt, so you do have to pick them up manually, but that's not that big of a deal. I would also prioritize gold and silver, as well as uranium, because those can't be purchased by cargo, so the only way of obtaining them is mining. But realistically, you have so much time when you're on these that you should really just aim to mine everything. And I'm not going to mine every single piece, but I have mined a decent bit, just as an example. So what you do with the ores once you're done with them is you fly back to the station. And depending on whether or not the cargo shuttle's there, you can just fly up to your little salvage arm, or you can just dock. Well, you can't really dock, but I mean, honestly, people just normally ram the station anyway. So don't be afraid to ram the station. You can't really damage anything. The worst case is you hit someone, but you don't want to block the doors entirely because you need to get out. But this will work. And you don't have to worry about spacing cargoes, because I believe every single cargo bay has tiny fans, which means air can't pass through it. So, like, I could take my helmet off just to show you that there's nothing to worry about here. And all cargo bays will have a ore processor, and all you have to do is you just put each ore in there, except artifact fragments don't have any purpose for ore processors. Or once you have 6 ore of any type, you can print out a stack of that respective material. So I got a stack of silver. I could print out a stack of silver bars. So within just minutes of being a solo salvager, and I didn't even mine nearly half that asteroid, I have a full stack of silver, plasma, and artifact fragments ready to go, available for science, and this will help them out tremendously. That is one of the primary functions of salvage. Is mining is very, very useful for saving money for cargo, making money for cargo, and science needs these materials desperately, and even medical needs plasma. So the other part of salvage is expeditions. Expeditions currently are always moderate difficulty, so you just pick the ones that you think arguably sound the easiest. So all 3 of these are Xenos. All of these are on... All 3 of these are Xenos right now. The other enemy type is Carp, but the one that doesn't have a dangerous atmosphere is on a lava planet, and they're all in the evening. So I guess we could just pick grasslands. Grasslands are easy to navigate. We'll claim that. And how to actually start an expedition is really simple. You just get back onto your shuttle and make sure your oxygen and stuff is on in case you forgot to put it back on. You come over to the shuttle console, and you simply just click the planet name. It's always a random name. In this case, it's Shitten 90D. And you just wait for the FTL to start. And you'll start going faster than light towards the planet. And you want to make sure your camera's oriented the right direction, so you press 8. And in this example, the dungeon is located east. Now, you only have 7 minutes, so you kind of have to work quickly and move quickly, but you don't want to lose your way, so try to walk in as straight of a line as you can, and once you can't anymore, you can just shoot your way through rocks until you get there. You also don't have to do the dungeon at all if you don't want to. You could just use this as an opportunity to mine. I mean, here's a bunch of steel, for example, and so on. And don't be like me. You're going to want to bring your tools, and if you're not planning on mining, so let me just leave the ore bag here, grab the utility belt. That would be very, very helpful. And there are a decent bit of mobs on these planets. Expeditions are definitely more dangerous than the salvage wrecks, and it's definitely way more dangerous than just mining. But if you get unlucky with generation, kind of like I'm getting unlucky at this second, it might take you some time to even find the entrance to the dungeon. And I can't take my mask off to put on a welding mask because there's a dangerous atmosphere here. Meaning that if I were to take my mask off, I could potentially fall asleep. And since I'm solo, that would most likely mean I will die. I mean, not most likely. I would die. So do not mess with taking your oxygen off unless you 100% know that the atmosphere is safe. And what we're doing right now is we're just kind of looking for a window or an entrance. If we find an entrance, that'd be nice because the entrance would mean we could just walk through the door. And I hear enemies inside hitting windows, but we are at this moment still very unlucky and have not found an entrance. But without engineering goggles, I don't really want to blind myself. Here we go. We found a normal window. So at this point, we could just break the window by shooting it and just take your wire cutters from your tool belt. Cut our way in, and now we're in. And it said Xenos, but these are carp, but I'm not sure why that's the case. We're just going to basically open this door, and we're going to kite them and shoot backwards. You always want to have two hands on the proto-kinetic accelerator because it increases your accuracy. And carps are not very strong on the dungeons. You don't have to worry too much about them. And we are here for things just like that. This is fantastic. So this RTG can potentially make infinite power for engineering. And inside here we have 3 super manipulators and 2 blue space matter bins. Science will love you for this. And what you can do is you can strap a full ton to the box, and in 45 seconds it will extract, and it will go all the way back to the cargo bay. You can't strap it on things like RTGs. It seems to only really be on storage containers. Also, here's a pretty good melee weapon. This is better than our knife. It does 15 pierce. It is contraband, though, so you got to be careful. You can find a bunch of weird stuff on salvage expeditions. So, really, you just want to keep exploring the dungeon and making sure you are making good time. But overall, they're really just... They're not that difficult. Just know when you're outmatched and gotta run. But, like, one enemy at a time, that's just nothing to worry about. You have so much time to react. 5,000 points. Science, again, will want this. 2,500 bucks. That's good. A high-capacity power cell, potentially useful. You could bring a circuit imprinter back to cargo if you want. You could bring this RPED. Science, well, again, thank you for this. You really just have to decide what you think is worth bringing, what you think isn't worth bringing. I'm not going to be able to tell you what is all that valuable. Every shift is different. Every shift people need and want different things. But yeah, there are quite a lot of enemies here, but again, none of them are that difficult. These are just normal carp, thankfully. You kind of just want to keep exploring around to see if you can find any really big name valuables. Like here, there's some remote signalers that could be useful to take. And we are just taking our time, looking around, and making sure we're not going against the clock too badly. What's in here? A thruster. Nitrous oxide canisters are actually worth quite a lot of money. I'm not going to bother going through there, but those are worth probably like $4,000 to $5,000 on its own, which is good. And once you start hearing that music, I would say it's time to go. And once you're back on the ship, all you got to do is go to your console and click the station. And expedition complete. Obviously, you want to make sure everyone's on board before you click that button. I don't even think it will let you click the button if people are not on board. But that is essentially a very quick rundown to how to actually be a salvage tech. It's really not that difficult. You really just learn how to do combat. Mining is pretty chill, and if you mine, everyone on the station will thank you. And you just want to remember to return the goodies to where they go. So you want to bring the money back to cargo. You want to bring research tech and you want to bring research point disk back to science. You want to bring them like the parts that we Fulton back, for example, is something you want to bring back. And just to show you how the Fulton system works, we're going to go back to cargo like so. And back here, if you remember where we set up the beacon, you can see the parts boxes there. And obviously, you could have filled this box up with literally as much stuff as you possibly could have before you Fultoned it back. The reason why you want to Fulton things is because you don't want to be dragging a box the entire time. That'll slow you down, and you only have 7 minutes. But you don't necessarily need to Fulton things, but Fultons aren't hard to make. You yourself can actually make additional Fultons at an auto lathe, which all cargo bays have, and they are pretty cheap. They only cost 2 steel per, and if you mine for just a few seconds, you'll be able to make enough Fultons to last an entire shift. Like I said, that's pretty much it. It's actually, salvage is a pretty easy job, but it has a good bit of combat to it, and just you'll find new stuff to. You'll never quite see the same dungeon twice, even on the expeditions. There's not too many modules, but the loot's never the same, and there's quite a lot of salvage wrecks to pull in. It will definitely take multiple shifts to see them all at least once. So I encourage you to get out there and give it a shot. Thank you for watching.